Welcome to Music in Progress, your window into the art of composing music. I'm your host, Michael Cook, a Bay Area composer and multi-instrumentalist. We'll delve into the depths of my creative processes that shape the music I make. Whether you're a fellow musician, an enthusiast, or simply curious about the magic behind the melodies, you'll find valuable insights, practical tips, and innovative techniques to inspire your own musical journey.
I'm still on the road, but I thought I'd share an update on my bassoon concerto. I now have a first draft of all three movements. That feels like a real milestone. I knew this was going to be a difficult stretch for composing, so I started the third movement right before I left. Writing while traveling comes with some real limits. I do not have any instruments with me, and many of the places I have been staying do not have anything I can borrow for composition time. Writing without instruments. It is definitely a struggle to work out ideas in my head without having a piano or bassoon nearby. I have to rely almost completely on my notation tools, my ear, and my previous experience. I find that this changes the way I compose. Without an instrument in my hands, I tend to rely more heavily on techniques that are already well ingrained. That can make the results feel less adventurous or less spontaneous. It also forces me to draw on what I already know. What I can still do is listen, study, and look closely at scores. So I have been leaning heavily into that side of the process. I brought several pieces with me to serve as models for this concerto, and I have been studying those scores in detail. I have also been listening to music that helps me refine the sound world I want for the piece. None of this would have been possible without a plan already in place. Trying to begin this piece from nothing while traveling would have been too much of a struggle. Shaping the third movement. The third movement is still in ritornello form, but one of the bigger differences from the first movement is how the solo sections are supported. In the first movement, continuo primarily accompanies the solos. In the third movement, a larger ensemble supports the solo sections. Like the first movement, though, the third movement is fast and energetic. Having that relationship between the first and third movements helps the concerto feel connected. At the same time, the third movement has begun to develop its own character. Rethinking the second movement. The slow second movement was originally supposed to be a simple binary form, lyrical, melodic, and direct. When I began writing it, I mostly concentrated on the chords. I created a chord progression that I thought was beautiful. I also wanted it to give the performer room to create an interesting melody on top. As I worked on it, however, I ended up adding an introductory section that returns throughout the movement. That made the form feel a little more like a ritornello than I originally planned. On further review, I decided there are two sections where I could write out the melody. Those lines can then serve as a guide for the rest of the movement. I have not done that yet, and probably will not try until I get home and have access to an instrument again. The shape is finally there. All in all, I have a decent first draft of the concerto. There are definitely sections I am not happy with, and I have marked them with comments so I know what to review later. For now, the important thing is that the full shape of the piece exists. Once I get home in a few weeks, I should be able to work with my instruments again and start finalizing the details. That timing matters, because next month is when the first drafts really need to be delivered. The road has not been the easiest place to compose, but I found a way to get the concerto into a form I can revise.